Hello, my name is Cronus Adair and this is Azur Lane. Today I'll be reviewing the ship I consider to be the headliner of the Swirling Cherry Blossoms event, the Sakura Empire Light Cruiser IJN Noshiro. To sum up my review now, make sure you get her before the event ends. She's one of the best Sakura cruisers currently in the game. So, let's learn a little bit about the ship the Azur Lane Noshiro was based on. The IJN Noshiro was an Nagano-class light cruiser launched in July of 1942 and commissioned in June of 1943. The Nagano class had an interesting history. IJN doctrine generally used light cruisers as if they were large destroyers, and they were the leaders of destroyer squadrons, whereas the IJN considered heavy cruisers to be their main cruiser combatants. In the era of the Washington Naval Treaty, generally what cruisers the IJN built were heavy cruisers. The IJN wanted ships that were individually superior to their opponents, and they wanted the greater firepower of heavy cruisers in their 8-inch guns. This is reflected in Azur Lane by the Sakura Empire having a lot of super rare and elite heavy cruisers, and few light cruisers of generally lower rarity. Also note that many of those light cruisers have skills that boost destroyer torpedo performance, reflecting their role as destroyer leaders. But in the 1930s, the IJN realized that their newer destroyers were faster and more powerful than their outdated leaders, and the Nagano class was commissioned to replace them based on the technologies tested in the IJN Yubari. Thus, the Nagano class shipgirls like Noshiro represent the cutting edge in IJN light cruiser design. Ironically, 2 months after Noshiro was commissioned into the IJN, she was sent out to take the place of the IJN Jinsu. The ship Noshiro is considered to have power crept in-game. Noshiro herself participated in many of the skirmishes during the Guadalcanal campaign and the defenses of other South Pacific islands, being damaged by USN airstrikes several times. In 1944, she escorted IJN task forces during the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, then went on to participate in the Battle of Leyte Gulf as the only light cruiser in Admiral Kurita's center force, the force led by the Yamato that slipped through the USN lines at the San Bernardino Strait to attack the USN escort carriers and transports in what's called the Battle off Samar. During the battle, Noshiro was credited with hitting the escort carrier USS White Plains with her gunfire, as well as assisting in the sinking of the escort carrier USS Gambier Bay, but she did suffer a 5-inch shell hit from one of the USN destroyers. The very heavy IJN task force that Noshiro was part of was driven off by that destroyer charge, and Noshiro met her end in the days after the battle off Samar, being immobilized by USN torpedo bombers harassing the retreating IJN force. She managed to evacuate half her crew before being sunk by a dive bomber strike from the Essex-class USS Hornet. In-game, Noshiro is a rather soft-spoken, modest girl who's focused on being tidy, but has the elegant grace of a Kendo warrior maiden. Stat-wise, her health pool is rather modest, but she has good firepower and anti-air. She's got the third highest torpedo stat of any light cruiser in the game, reflecting her status as a top-tier torpedo cruiser. Finally, her base reload is average and evasion is buff average for light cruisers in general. What really sets her apart is her skills. Her first skill is Noshiro's Hoarfrost. While this ship is afloat, increases the ship evasion rate by 15% and decreases the torpedo damage your Vanguard takes by 20%. This makes her extremely tanky. With her slightly above average evasion, a 15% boost really knocks it up, and the torpedo damage reduction on top of her being light armor means that she does not take a lot of damage from torpedoes. Her second skill, Skyslayer's Edge, increases the damage this ship deals to enemy CVs and CVLs by 20%. This makes her very good fighting carrier bosses. While this ship is afloat, increases the torpedo of your Vanguard by 20% and improved critic rate by 12%. This is a very good torpedo skill. It increases herself, and because it's the Vanguard, she's one of the few ships that boosts Ibuki. Alright, and the improved crit rate applies to everybody, including gun damage. Her all-out assault triggers every 8 times the main guns are fired, and the all-out assault is pretty good. It's forward focused, a series of delta shells with some torpedoes backing it up. Efficiency-wise, She has decent main gun efficiency, extremely high torpedo efficiency, and average anti-air efficiency. For recommended gears, I've got gear sets broken down into beginning commanders, intermediate commanders, and advanced commanders. For new commanders, I'd recommend the Triple 155 main gun or what's called the Belfast gun. This gun comes from Soccer Empire boxes, as well as it prints drop at 6.2, 8.3, 13.1, and C3 of the current Swirling Cherry Blossoms event. An alternative to this gun is the twin 150mm TBT SKC main gun. Being AP, it doesn't have as good a performance as the Belfast gun, but is a solid alternative. Prints of this gun drop at 4.2, 9.3, and 11.4, and can be found in Iron Blood boxes. Torpedo-wise, you can use quite a wide variety of torpedoes on her. Really, any of the purple torpedoes will work just fine. For autoplay, I tend to recommend the magnetic torpedoes, but any purple torpedo will do. However, I do recommend avoiding the quintuple magnetic torpedoes. The load rate is extremely slow. This is 11 seconds longer than the quadruple, making it a very poor choice in general. Most purple AA guns have subpar performance. Generally the best is the twin 127 AA gun from Sakura boxes, and prints of this drop from 4.4 and 12.4. For new commanders, I tend to recommend prioritizing survival on their vanguards, and good equipment is the repair toolkit, which comes from really any box, as well as 3.4 and 10.3. Another good gear, especially on Noshiro to boost her evasion, is the hydraulic gear. Alternatively, the naval camouflage can be used instead. Both of these have equivalent stats. All of them can be found in any blue or purple box, and prints of both of these drop at 2.1 and 2.2. For intermediate commanders, I'd recommend upgrading the purple Belfast gun to the gold Belfast gun, and upgrading the torpedoes to a gold torpedo. Again, what torpedo you pick depends on your play style. The gold magnetic torpedoes can be found in Iron Blood boxes. They also can be found in the War Archives in the Diversion Chessboard D1 map and the SP3 map of Encircling Grasp Bay. Alternatively, you could use the regular gold 533 quintuple mount. Manual players may like the 610 quadruple mount. AA gun wise, the twin 113 AA gun is a solid choice given her AA stat. It gives very long range and hits very hard. This gun can be found in Royal boxes, as well as the famous coin farming map of 7.2 and 11.4. To boost her evasion, I recommend keeping evasion gear. Alright, hence the hydraulic gear. Then, to boost her damage output, I recommend obtaining the pure oxygen aux gear from the Core Data Lab for 1500 core. Finally, for the advanced commander, I'd recommend getting the prototype Triple 152 DP Mark 17 gun from PR2 Research. This is called the Seattle gun. This is generally considered best in slot on light cruisers, and given that Noshiro is going to be one of your better light cruisers, this is a top pick. Alternatively, For those commanders that participated in Northern Parliament events, this gun can be substituted for the triple 152 B38 Chappie gun. Advanced commanders may wish to equip her with the Rainbow Torp. Alternatively, for manual play, the British torpedo from the Gear Lab is a very solid choice. It fires its torpedoes in a straight line, making this very hard-hitting for manual play. Then for advanced commanders, I'd recommend upgrading to the high-performance hydraulic steering gear from Research, aka the washing machine. This is going to give her a strong buff to her evasion rate, and this powered evasion skill is excellent on all vanguards, basically makes them invulnerable for 2 seconds. Again, I'll display this gear for a few seconds for advanced commanders, intermediate commanders, and beginning commanders. Ultimately, Noshiro is one of the best light cruisers currently in game, a must really for everyone. She can be obtained 3 ways. She's in the event pool until July 7th, 2021 at a rate of 0.5%. She also drops from the B3, D3, and SP maps of the event until 7/7 of 2021. And failing pulling her or having her drop, she'll be in the event shop for 8,000 event points until 7/14 of 2021. Basically, you can get an OP ship girl just by playing the Swirling Cherry Blossoms event, so go out and get her. This has been my review for the IJN Noshiro. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.